take care is I want our community voices to be heard. I want people to motivate to participate in the election process because most of the Indian families, they stay off the grid. They're in their own bubble. They don't get involved in the election process because of the bad experience back home. And so my idea is to bring them up front and bring them to the front seat with all the candidates so that they could hear what the candidates have to say and essentially decide what to vote, against which to vote. And my idea is to give them the full background and have them motivated to vote. They can vote either way. They can vote whoever they want. But at least they have to get engaged in the election process. They have to go and vote and they have to take part in it. So that's why I'm doing this and that's what my purpose is. Thank you so much. Thank you NRI Pulse for coming around and supporting us. Thank you so much.
Your neighbors and your friends that aren't coming out to these things that maybe are not as well informed as you are. We have a challenge, but the good news is what is right is on our side. It's just a matter of doing the work, getting the word out. Don't be afraid. They can't. Don't let them silence you. Stand strong on the policies. Stand strong behind these candidates. These are good people that are running for office. These are good public servants. They have been a huge help in making sure that Johns Creek in this area stays the great area that it has been. I really appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I look forward to hearing these candidates, and I look forward to continuing to speak out, whether it's on Facebook, to my neighbors, to my friends, on social media, to let people know what's at stake and how important it is that they vote and that they vote the right way. Thank you all.
My top priority is like education. Okay. And the education in the sense, for example, Hope Scholarship. There are some legislators left side who wants to make that Hope Scholarship as a income-based. That actually it is meant for merit-based. They do that, the function from the Hope Scholarship will be diluted and diminished. So students won't be able to get the scholarship to pay for their entire tuition fee. I want to protect Hope Scholarship. Second thing is crime-free. Johns Creek is very good district so far, but recently when the police chief, he said the illegal immigrants who are crossing the southern border also coming here into Johns Creek. So he asked for extra funds, which Johns Creek the gap approved. So you have to look at it. You can never take our safety as a guarantee. Most of the research streets are controlled by and developed by Johns Creek City. But whenever they need extra funds from the state or something for the there is some kind of competition programs. So we will I want to focus on that. Most importantly, you have to see Indian community is in the forefront for in every field. Education, even academics, scientists and businesses, you name it, we are in the forefront. But in politics, that's where we are very weak. In the sense, we don't even have a participation. Not only that, even to go and vote, they will take it very easy. So you have to understand the essence of the legislature is, if you are not there, they can make laws, they can pass laws that can be detrimental to your business or to the detrimental education system where your children and grandchildren can suffer. So we have to be very careful on that. In Georgia Assembly we have 180 seats, in the State Senate we have 58 seats, but till today no Indian got elected. But countries like China is represented, Bangladesh is represented, Palestine is represented, even Pakistan is represented, Thailand, I think Thailand also represented. But how come we don't have it? But we need to have. So my purpose of running for this election is also one of the reason is if I can win this election, other people will believe that they too can participate in the system and they can get elected. That's one thing I want to create, that pathway for the future.
Well, thank you so much. The Indian community gave me the great idea to reduce property taxes in Gwinnett. We got that done. It passed with 75% of the vote. It kicks in 2025. It's permanent. So what I want to do is continue property tax relief. I want to help our senior citizens. Our senior citizens in the Indian community in Forsyth County have benefited greatly from property tax reduction. I want to bring that to Gwinnett. Workforce issues. I know our Indian community is a leader in healthcare. We've got healthcare workforce needs, and I want to help meet, in addition to keeping on fighting inflation. Georgia can't count on Washington to solve our problems. We've got to continue being a jobs leader in Georgia and ease the blow of inflation here in Georgia. So income and property tax relief, school safety, public safety, and our healthcare workforce. Those are my top priorities.
What do you think is the major issue in Georgia and how would you solve it?
I think keeping us number one in job growth. That has benefited Georgia so well. Other states, the Indian community knows it from having friends around the country and around the world. Other states are suffering greatly right now. Georgia, it has not been as painful with inflation because we've been a jobs leader. So keeping Georgia on the side of small businesses, hard-working Georgians, homeowners and taxpayers, that is the key to keep us number one in jobs. Thank you. You got it. You got it. Thank you.
So number one is the economy. Things are still way too expensive. People are hurting, and so we want to make sure that we lower the tax, put more money back in people's pockets. Number two is education. We have great schools. We got to continue to make sure our kids are learning and getting ahead. And then finally, we live here in this community because it's safe. We want to make sure that we dedicate resources to public safety and keeping our community beautiful.
How would you address it?
That's a great question. So again, one of the big issues we've seen in our area is property taxes going way too high. And so actually on your ballot this fall is a referendum to cap the growth of your property taxes. They can't go any higher than the rate of inflation. So that'll bring relief to a lot of homeowners in the North Fulton area.
Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
So my top priorities for District 24, politics is local, and a great representative, they know their community backwards and forwards. They've spent a lot of years in the community. They know they spend a lot of time. They know the issues facing the community. They know the elected officials, and they spend a lot of time with their constituents and understanding their concerns. And then they go to the Capitol and they build very good relationships down there. Relationships are hugely important. So, and a great representative, though, should be a fierce advocate for the community. They should understand what the community needs, and then they should be a fierce advocate at the Capitol, help bring those critical resources back. So when I was first elected, they asked you which committees you want to be on, and I asked to be on the Higher Education Committee. I'm proud to be the secretary. I'm in a leadership position on the Higher Education Committee, which deals with the university system of Georgia and the technical college system of Georgia. Education is a priority of mine. So I've been in Forsyth County for 34 years, and I've volunteered in so many different ways in different organizations. In 2017, before I was elected, I chaired the Education SWAS Committee, which paid for the new Midway Elementary School as an example, which we just opened this year, and that will educate 1,200 kids a year right there in that beautiful new school. We do very well with K through 12 education in Forsyth. We've got 53 career pathways. What I'd like to do is see us go even further. The economy is changing so quickly. I want our young people to have the best possible advantages for themselves. With AI coming, the economy is going to change very quickly. We've got horrible inflation on us, and finding ways to help our young people identify those opportunities for their futures early in life, so that they can be viable in a changing economy. But also our adults. We've got many people who are empty nesters, for example. When I was younger, people typically worked until they were 62 years old, had a job, save, And eventually, they would save for retirement and probably live to be 75 years old. Well, today, we've got this horrible inflation. The money you've saved is not going to go nearly as far. It's not going to last, and it's going to need to last you a whole lot longer because you're probably going to live to be 95 or 100 years old. So we've got to find ways to not only help our kids understand the opportunities earlier in life, but also our adults, the parents of those kids. We want them to have wonderful opportunities. So this year, for example, we brought $6.5 million to Lanier Technical College. We brought in $3.5 million to University of North Georgia for their new STEM building they're going to be building in Lumpkin County. We just opened a new 27,800 square foot addition to the University of North Georgia. We built a community that is the envy of everywhere. We don't want a place where people say, well, we're going to go there and educate our children because they have great schools. And we'll go make lots of money because it's a robust economy, but then we'll move and retire somewhere else. We want to design a community that you wouldn't consider moving somewhere else because it's the greatest place in the world.
Represented by having right here, and I'm proud to be a representative. And we're doing something a little bit about our little area. We're the number one in education position. We're the number one in net worth. We're the number one in salary. We're the number one in business ownership. I mean, there are so many different things that we're number one. Make sure we keep a majority. We make sure we keep the House. We keep the Senate, and we keep the governor's mansion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Like you said, we need to get them all through. So spread the message. Now,
most of you met me when I first ran over 2 years ago. Some of you I met recently at our protest in demanding a stop to genocide in Bangladesh. Thank you. That wasn't something that I did. That was something that you did that I support, continue to support, and will continue to be with you. What we're seeing right now in Georgia politics is very different and unique than anything that we have seen in my decade plus of being engaged in Georgia politics. The Republicans today, the Democrats today, are very different than the parties that we had just a few years ago. The Democrats that are running today want to do a couple of things differently than what we've ever seen. They are trying to raise your property taxes, which is counter to everything you heard from Matt. They are trying to take the scholarships that your kids have earned that are merit-based and make it needs-based and give it kids that are of low-income families. And there are scholarships for those. But what we don't have is scholarships for kids that have earned it if they take that away. That is critically different. But I want to share with you something else tonight that we have seen. This is the first time I'm speaking about it publicly. This is going to be breaking news statewide within the next 3 days. I imagine it'll become national news spoken about much sooner than that. If you're a parent, a candidate running for office in the state of Georgia who has used your children as a vehicle to feed information back to campaigns. What they have done is this campaign, this one particular candidate, has been sending letters to your kids' schools asking for their private contact information to be sent to him. The schools have a mandatory law that says anybody under 18 they can't do that. All the colleges, because the kids are over 18, they did send that information. When the schools blocked him, when they blocked John Street High, Chattahoochee High, Northview High, South Forsyth High, Lambert High, when those schools said, no, you can't have our kids' information, this candidate used an organization, a national platform for voter registration called the Civics Center. And the Civics Center is a legitimate voter registration that people use to set up tables to help kids or any adult over the age of 18 register to vote. So I don't want to take any more of your time on that. I will be happy to talk about anything that I've discussed offline. If there are a question or two, I'm happy to address it. Otherwise, I'll hand the phone off to Narender. Is there any questions before I hand it? Yes, ma'am.
Question about safety. We recently had that incident in the school. What are we thinking about the safety of our children in the school?
Talking about gun safety.
Yes.
Okay. What happened in Appalachian High was one of the saddest things I've ever seen or experienced. And we've seen violence across all of our schools. Last year, Matt and I passed a bill, funding bill, called Alyssa's Law, that put $48,000 in every public school in our state. Appalachian High had just installed this monitoring system the week before the shooting happened, and that's why the police were there within 2 minutes of when the violence started. The tragedy that happened there was a breakdown in a lot of areas. I know that our speaker has talked about it, our governor has talked about it, that we're going to have new and improved safety detectors coming in and out of all schools in our state. I know that we are going to be heavily focused on mental health because every school shooting that has happened in our country starts with mental health. And we have not done a good enough job with that. And I know that we're going to be heavily focused on that, make it the top priority when we get back. We can't undo what happened at Appalachian. And it's a tragedy because I wish we could. Every child deserves the right to feel safe going to school. Every parent has the right to feel safe knowing that the kids are going to come home that afternoon. And to not get that horrible text that, Mom, there's somebody with a gun in my school. It's as a parent, it literally hurts you physically to think about how that other parent felt. So it will be a priority for us. I don't know what every answer is. I can tell you this. Putting a safe in people's homes is only as good as the people that put the guns in the safe. Putting locks on trailers only is as good as the people that are willing to put the lock on and keep it there. But if we put our focus heavily on the mental health of what we're dealing with, as long as we have safety resource officers in every school in this state, if we're making sure that no kind of weapon can come in out of our schools, I think that's a really great start. And unfortunately, it's taken a tragedy like this for us to start looking at it. So.
One thing, we are so blessed. We are so blessed to be here. But you guys are blessed. Do you know, this doesn't happen very often. Do you know that you have 5%? You got 5 representatives here. You got 5% of our caucus here. You do. Matt Reeves, Scott, Todd, Carter Barrett, myself. That does not happen very often when you have 5 of us from different parts of Metro Atlanta here. And it shows you how important you guys are. You guys are to us. I want to give you a couple facts. Because you talk about how we need you. We really, really need you to go out there and vote. Not just for me, not just for Todd, but Scott, Hilton, and Matt Reeves. We have to keep the majority, folks. We have to. We don't have no choice. We're the #1 state to do business 11 years in a row. And I want to tell you, do you guys know this? No, really. Do you guys know this that your Indian community is the #1, the fastest growing trade partner in Georgia within the last 5 years? Did you guys know that? That is how important you guys are to Georgia. I'm going to give you a couple more facts, and I'm going to keep it short. Because this is about you. This is about you and the partnership. I just talked to a lot of folks here, and he said, we're going to do some things. We're going to do some things in 2025. I am so looking forward to our partnership. We're going to have you guys more involved in the Capitol. I want to see every single one of you in the Capitol. I really do. I want to see. And we're going to recognize you. We are working on an Indian caucus. We're working on that, just to build that partnership. And this is how important it is. Like I said, India is the Georgia's fastest growing partner within the last 5 years. Did you know that in 2022, your community, India, exported $235 million to Georgia, the main product being meat. Your imports from India grew by 30% to $4.8 billion in 1 year. That's why you guys are so important to us, and that's why it's so important. It's so important for you guys to keep us in the majority, and to keep Scott, and to keep Matt, and to keep me, and to keep Carter, and to keep Tom. It's very, very important because we gotta make better on our relationship, folks. We are, just like Todd said, we are running thin. We are running really, really thin. I'm gonna give you the